So uncle would put drugs in my food and rape me for more than 3 months. The person that I had gone to seek help from would now become the person that was digging my grave and burying me at the same time. You know, for a man to rape a fellow man, but the day he came now drunk and now physically now held me and did that, I hated this body called Victor. Yeah, I didn't see any value in it. My name is Victor Tino Hamisi. Lost my parents at a young age, and I was sexually molested, drugged and raped by an uncle, became a street boy, and now I feed and clothe street families and campaign about mental health in men. Just want to see men having a safe space where they can share what they go through instead of men dying silently with depression. I use my pain for the gain of men for mental health. Men think that when you keep things to yourself, you're at peace. You're in a shelter, you're in a safe zone, let me call it. But what you don't know is you're shaking a soda and you're making the carbon more. You're producing the molecules of explosion more. And this is making a lot of men dying faster, slowly, but a faster rate. And many men have been rejected because of what they've uttered and said. When they are seeking for help, they are seen as weaklings. And we are China, leave that man alone. That's not a man. He should be given a dare. So many men, one thing that is there in them, and let me say this in public, from spiritual leader down to that security or that mjengo guy, many men suffer rejection and loneliness is their home. We meet them in their Range Rovers, we meet them in their sites, mjengo, security. They give us good smile. In the radio and TV stations, good morning, my name is Victor, the big smile, but inside, they're just as vacuum as a vacuum cleaner. At least a vacuum cleaner has some nuts in it. They're very lonely people. Yes, they wish they had someone to talk to. And even the women or the girlfriend or the wives they have, they cannot share. Because if they do, this is an African man. He should not be vulnerable. If they see your tears, that's not a real man. A real man's tears should go back to the stomach. But God created you to use your cheek. Yes. And men are hurting. We are losing, in a group of 10, currently 8 are battling mental issues. Yes. And in a group of 10, we are losing 4 to 5 maximum in a day, or 3, or 2 minimum. Even if we say it's 1. My story is like a series or a movie. I think I should do a movie about my life. So my story is all about GBV. I was born and raised in a very nice family. My real dad passed before I was born. Mom got remarried with me. The other dad passed. Yeah. So when the other dad passed, we had to move back home. So when dad passed, things were taken. Everything was taken. We went back home. Mom started life. She started mongering fish from Homa Bay bringing them to Migori, a place called Namba. And mom was a businesswoman. Korea ladies are very good business women. They are like our Mount Kenya women. So one day, mom wakes up and tells me, go to your uncle. He'll give you some money, and if you don't find him, wait for him. And I think that when someone is about to die, they usually know. Because her statement, if you don't find him, wait for him. So mom, by that time she was sending me, was sick, got healed faster. She was very sick for 1 week, and then one day she's like, I'm a pona once, she's healed once. So the toothache, she had an issue with toothache, and she passed. And for me, up to today, people say that tooth kills, but for me, I've never thought that was the real cause. Mom was killed. And that's where I find my peace. Yeah, mom was killed. So when mom passed, life started happening. We moved with my granny. My sister was in Nairobi schooling with someone, so before that, she was taken 2 years before. She came and lived with us. And we started living with the granny. So I won't mention the name. My dad's brother, younger brother, who is now late, lived together. So when he got to class 7, now we call it grade 7, he dropped out of school, went to driving, got married. I used to perform well. From where we used to live to where I used to school in Asar Johnson, it was quite a kilometer. Yeah? You know, back home, ukienda shule ni shule. Yeah? Going and coming back is like someone who has practiced running. So at Asar Johnson, I used to play something called Oyeke, which is from my mother's side. They play that thing very well. In traditional, this Benga music, you see those people, they're just getting there. Yeah, so I used to play that. So we had succeeded to going to provincials by then at Migori TTC. So we used to go practice in school. After classes, in the games time, when others are going for games to play, we are practicing. And then Saturdays we'll meet, and Sundays we'll meet in the afternoon. So one Saturday, they decided that we will meet early so that we finish early. So I went to the shamba kupalilia, lazima. Without that, you cannot get food back home. So I went after kumaliza. Instead of taking the cows to graze, I went and tied them, then went to practice. So I told Granny I'm going for the practice. So when I came back, he found that sikupeleka the cows for grazing. He unclothed me, tied me with a rope, and whipped me. Even in my back, I still have some llamas. So when he finished whipping me, and he untied me, and I took the rope, because how I was being mistreated, I felt like, ama huku si kwetu, you know. And that time, my sister, there's an opportunity for a children's home called Marindi. Right now it's called Kenya Relief. If you go on Google, it's called Kenya Relief. So they were taking orphans. In a home, they were taking one. They wanted to take me, but instead I told the bishop, kindly take my sister, because for her, she'll have much opportunities. If I come here and stay here, of course I'll have good opportunity in terms of education, but she'll be married. It was like, at this age, you're able to reason like that. Like, yeah. So that's what made him to take my sister. So I remained home. So I took this rope and went to hang myself. And when you're supposed to hang myself, a voice. If people say there's no God, me, I know there's God. A voice loudly told me, I've got good plans I have for you. Plans to make you prosper. So nikajitoa, nikateremka kwa mto. I went and stayed there. And then kuna these fruits called akuno back home. There are these things that grow beside the river. In Luo, we call them akuno. They are red in color. Yeah. So I took some and ate. And you know, in Ushago River, there's a place where men take shower, and the places women where take shower. So a guy came, you know, akisugua kabla uoge, they usually unasugua mguu kwanza. So akisugua mguu yake, akafungua radio. And there's a show called Mseto East Africa. Mzazi William Tuba. So the show started. And these were his words. Unachopitia kwa sasa, kina mwisho. Mungu anajua mwanzo, na Mungu anajua mwisho wake. Usikate tamaa. Piga vumbi, toa vumbi, endelea na safari. That's exactly what I did. I walked from Migori, heading to Homa Bay, to look for my friend, my mom's friend. So mom had done a connection. Mom was really a deal maker. So where we used to stay, there was a mom's friend, a female friend, who was single, who had a kid. And where she was mongering fish, there was a man who was single. Sasa mom alitafutia mwanaume bibi, alitafutia msichana wenye bwana. Akafanya ile kitu. This couple, when they married, they got married through my mom. They would oftenly visit us. Because when this lady would come home, she would come and see us. When the man would come this side to visit the lady's side, she would come and visit us. Yeah? And when we would go sometimes to the lakeside, we'll go and visit him here in Homa Bay, because he'll give us shelter place too. So I hit him like, this is not the best place, so let me go to. So I walked to Kowino, yeah, going to Homa Bay on foot. But in between, kuna mali giza ilinipata, nikadanganya, nimepotea, naenda Homa Bay, na yeah, so I was offered a shelter. And asubuhi, mimi ni nani? Huyo. Up to Homa Bay. I go to Homa Bay. Funny enough, I didn't find these people. They had moved from Homa Bay to Kisumu, and I didn't have the number. So with all my curiosity and when nimelelewa Nairobi, there's this guy who used to sell newspapers. This guy would sell newspaper at one spot. So in between, when you're coming from Kindu Bay, there's a road going to Rongo in Homa Bay town. There's a spot, and the junction, I mean, is it an L junction? The other one is T junction. The other one is going to the lake. This one comes from Kindu, and this one going to Rongo. Yeah. So alikuwa nauza gazeti hapa, and he only had one spot, and I spotted there was a jam in here. So I would go there, sit with the men, and listen to politics, as they also play their jua. But I spotted one thing: how the sales of this man is going was not well on the first day. So I told him, so fanya hivi, I can watch for you here, I sell for you here, while you take others to the jam. So this guy will make a kill in selling. And in exchange for two things: shelter and food. So that's how I became friend with this guy. So when we went, in the first day in the evening, we went to his place. Then I shared with him. I told him, he asked me, where are you coming from and everything. I told him everything. And we stayed for him for 1 week. And then he gave me fare coming to Nairobi. Because I lied that dad had passed and I'm taking the message. He gave me fare coming to Nairobi. But the young man did not use the money. Walked from Homa Bay coming to Nairobi. So when I go to Keroka, in between nililala mahali Kisii, when I go to Keroka, going to police station, and nikaingia kwa police station nikasema nina haki ya kupewa chakula, mimi ni Mkenya. So they gave me food and shelter. So I used to help Keroka police station police to nab the Chang'aa brewers for 3 days. Yes. So I'll go spot where they sell. Ni hapa, I come. And then one day he stopped a bus. He's called Ken. I hope he's still there. Put me in a bus coming to Nairobi. So I go to Nairobi. I went to my dad's boss in Old Muthaiga. So I went first look for George Anyona. There was someone called George Anyona. If you know George Anyona, delete. I find that hawapo. And then I went to my dad's boss. So when I got there, I told him everything, the life I was living, how things are. And yeye pia kanifanyia ile kitu. Put me in a company's car back to Migori instead of helping me. When I got there, I lied again in order to stay. I stayed there for a week. I took Shosh goat, stole, went and sold, back to Nairobi. When I came to Nairobi, I went to my uncle's place. And this is then where the nightmare started falling. So I told him everything that had happened. Then he offered that he will take me back to school, because my target was to go back to school. This is the only place that I thought would help me, sustain me in life. And you know, in Nyanza we value education. So the first day, the other cousin told me, be careful with Uncle X. I won't mention his name. Be careful with Uncle X. I didn't know what he was talking about. So Uncle would put drugs in my food and rape me for more than 3 months. So there's a day he came drunk, akaniambia, "Sunipe venye wewe unipea." So I'm like, how? Mukupea nini? Sunipe venye wewe unipea. So previously I told him I was feeling pain where naenda nayo haja kubwa, and he told me it's hemorrhoid. So I didn't know what hemorrhoid is. Till I grew up, I came to know that kuna kitu inaitwa hemorrhoid. So he did that now physically, and that's when like, kumbe ile damu mimi utoa, this is the cause. And luckily the next day, he had divorced his wife, who knew what he was doing. And when they were fighting, she came for money upkeep for the son. So I saw the opportunity, the door was opened. No opportunity comes on in a lifetime. Kahepa. And that's how my street life started. Street life, drugs, in terms of glue, mafuta ya ndege, ile kitamba, konga mafuta ya ndege. I tried suicide more than 6 times. And it didn't work. And I opted, some of my friends, mimi ndo nilikuja na ile idea tao ya, sijui kama ushaifanywa ile kitu at Stagecoach, unapakwa kinyesi. Let me call it, it looks more gracious, that name, kinyesi. Madam, nipe pesa ama nikupake hii kitu. Yes. So when the friends saw that was a deal business, one day they went without me and wakafanyiwa ile kitu. Kapelekwa, hawakuhama Kenya, hawakuenda jela. Wali travel uko kwingine. So I thought, this is not good. So I went to Gikomba. Kitambo ulikuwa unaosha manguo kwa kamera zinapigwa pasi. So unakuwa unalipwa bob. 50 cent bob. Ukiosha upige pasi ni bob. So I tried that. Nikaona inaleta dodo kiasi. Then there's a lady that gave me a job as a house help. So I lived with them as I was going to school. Then one day they divorced. So I thought of, where can I go to? So I remember there's a family friend. Yeah. I went to them. They welcomed me, took me back to school. They helped me. When I go to Form 2, the husband lost his job. They were unable to pay my school fees. So they sent me back home. When I went home, they thought I was dead. So I stayed there for a while. Came back. I tried school there, but it didn't work. Ukishazoea mahali umezoea mahali, yeah? So I came back to Nairobi. So when I came back to Nairobi, I went back to my former job, but now in people's home. I would wash clothes for a living. There's a time I trended at Kingangi's wall, and people bashed me, talked all sorts of things. Mwanaume anafuaje nguo, wewe atakula wake zenu, you know. I even posted, I was very vulnerable that I posted my ID. They called me all sorts of names. But I knew how genuine I was earning my living. But I thank Ingori, he posted that out of a good heart. And yeah, so continue with washing clothes, schooled myself. I got help from people. I finished my high school. And through the process in high school, I adopted a young man who now has finished his university. So in the process, I've been able to school some kids from the street. And I met a beautiful lady. But before that, nilifanya ile kitu I'm not usually not ashamed to put my life as bare. Ndio mtu asikuja baadaye aseme, Victor ulikuwa hivi. So I had a kid with a lady and it didn't work. And then later on I met this lady who is now late. She's called Faith, a single mom. Anunda's family, who I really appreciate that. That's where my help emotionally healing came from. So Faith valued me for who I was, not what I had. And through her, I was able to tell her what I went through. And that's how I was able to get help, first at Langata, through a certain lady from US. Then I got my first surgery, Uko. Then it was not 100% successful. It's one thing for the people to reject you, but it's another thing for you as a self to reject yourself. You're helping people to reject you. Yeah? It's like you're pushing a lorry, the lorry is you, and also helping people to push that lorry to go into a ditch. That's the state that I was when I discovered that the person that I had gone to seek help from would now become the person that was digging my grave and burying me at the same time. For a man to rape a fellow man, even me myself, I cannot even imagine or start. But the day he came now drunk and now physically now held me and did that, I hated this body called Victor. Yeah, I didn't see any value in it. I asked God a lot of questions, many questions that lingers in any human being's mind. All question, why me? God, what value do you see in me? Why did you create me? I tried taking my life. I lived in a dark world. And for me, the worst thing that even happened is that, like most people do, or most men do, is now, after I found out I had no one, because rejection came in, loneliness, bitterness, anger for myself, I tried seeking help, but I didn't find. Now the best camouflage was, sasa uko aje? Niko poa? That's mine. That usually give. Yes. Uko aje? Uko fiti? Even when I was looking for jobs. Uko aje? Niko poa? Unaweza nisaidia na kazi? So anapita tu, he's going through normal life. So it never clicked. And I used pads for many years of my life. And that's why even in my street feeding that I share, I actually campaign for people to donate pads. Because even some are in those positions. Yeah. So when you see people, government should make pads free. Our current president said give it free. Please do it. Yeah. It helped even men. It helped me a lot. Because I was unable to do hard jobs. Nginama hivi wanadamu ungeshindwa, bro, kona umbo la mwanaume, kwani uko na ile kitu, wewe ni semenya, sasa mwanaume, So it really helped me a lot. And the worst mistake that I made was never to be vulnerable. Yeah. I hated myself, but I was never vulnerable. There are a lot of cases that are put in police stations when someone comes and says, I've been raped by my uncle. Or even ladies who said, my dad or my cousin has raped me, or they first report them to people in the family, and like, no, that cannot happen, and it's really is happening. So imagine a man going to a police station and saying, my name is so-and-so, I've been raped and so and so. Aje, akili yako iko sawa? Because the first thing I did, I reported at Udhiru police station. Kabete police station. And polisi wa kwanza aliniambia, Kabete police post pale karibu na roundabout. Hii ni Polytechnic. Kijana uko sawa? Umetumia ile kitu? Because in the locality, a lot of young men, then I believe to now, smoke. So like, maybe huyu amevuta ile kitu, ama ametumia ile kitu. So if police told me that, then, and that's the last place that you can go and seek help. Now who do I say? I've been raped, please I need your help. They not even take you serious. If police cannot take you serious, so utakuja seme, alikuja akasema hapo hivyo, lakini tunadhani huyo ni kama amevuta ile kitu. You know, and the society, in small statement that people make, we ignore. People report things at home, kids. And that's why I tell parents, do oftenly check your kids. Do oftenly listen to your kids, what they say. In that small statement when they are laughing, smiling, sad, do you take it seriously? Do you take it with precautions? Yeah. I had no one to share. Especially in African set, we see that as a taboo. Because ukipatikana umesema kitu kaa hiyo, then unafaa kuwa unatupwa huko. You know. So for me, I had to now provide an environment where I can adopt for myself. It's an environment for no one else but for me. Even in the street where there is companies, we were with them, but I had my own environment that I had adopted, and I can live and fit in. Because even them, I will not share with them what I was going through. If you know St. Andrews, opposite St. Paul, St. Andrews Church, opposite kuna St. Paul, siku hizi imefunikwa. Ako kalikuwa, hiyo ilikuwa keja yetu hapo chini, hiyo kala, but yes. Sorry for those people that tulifanya ile kitu Stagecoach. Tulikuwa tuna earn a living, Yeah. From the time I lost my parents, to being raped, to being in street, to working, to getting someone's daughter pregnant, my first son, to getting now the late, before I even met Faith, none of the environment was conducive for me to open up and share what I was going through. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtain favor from God. That scripture is very powerful for those who do not know. When I met Faith, I find a good thing. I met someone who would value me for who I am, not what I have. Faith provided that space that I shared with her. Like, Aya, you went through this. And you should not only say, like, the way people say, you've gone through this. Haki pole. No. She'll say pole, but she'll now go to a further step of kila kitu itakuwa sawa, and I'm here for you. Tulikutana kwa matri. Amekaa hapa kando, kuna venye alikuwa, and then I wanted to know if she'll get home, and then I gave her my number. When she got home, akanipiga simu, we mbaba, nimefika home. Umefurahia? Akakata. And then the next weekend we meet her, and I tell her, this is where I live, and then pale ndio home. Then sikuja afternoon kujunisalamia. So she came, akaingia kejani, akapata natumia stove, but ujaluo TV nimeweka kwa wall. And like akatoka nje akapiga simu. Ni aje nani? Oil Libya in Allsops. Kuna list nimekutumia, leta hiyo gas na hizo masufuria na hizo vitu nimekuambia. Uniweke kwa pikipiki. So next minute, Boda is there with some things, open gas, put there, cooked. Hizo ni zangu. So she spotted a weakness and filled it faster. And I was like, this is the right person to talk to. So when I opened to her, she did not judge me, but she offered me a shoulder and a listening ear. Those two things that a lot of men lack: a shoulder and a listening ear. And I was able to open up and release all the bitterness and cries. And I got that. And still she did not leave. Because the people would listen to you, and, are you done? Okay. Pole sana. You'll never see them again after that. Yeah. So, and then we started walking the journey of healing. We have a lot of gaps to fill. We have a lot of roles to play. And for me, I realized that my rape was not for me, my rape was for other men. It's like Christ who was crucified for us all, not for him. So through the rape, I got my purpose in life. That's why I started the Check on a Man initiative. Yeah, it is all about mental health in men. And at the end of the day, it is us to bring the brotherhood. Like Simon Baby is doing the Man Enough, there's Man Cave, there's Check on a Man. It's us to bring these things together, to play all these roles for the one purpose of helping men, because trees come from a seed, yeah? And human beings come from seed. And who is the seed carrier? The man. If we bring bad man, then that man will bring a bad seed. And that's why relationships and marriages are breaking. We have toxic workplaces. I usually say that any place that you spend more than 6 or 7 hours is not a workplace. That's a home. Where you think you're going to sleep, that's not a home. That's a resting place. Yeah. So even workplaces, we should be elevated to more of caring for one another, so that we'll have a conducive environment to work. Because imagine just as you're employed somewhere and your mental health or issues at home make your mental health not to be okay, you'll underperform at work. What will the company do? Fire you. And then the process of hiring another person, it will take a long time. But what if the workplace see you, Victor is not performing the way he used to do, why not provide for him a counseling services? He gets the SIRE, we can take percentage out of his salary, yeah, small percent, cut out of his salary, get the mental health, and then continue the work. It is very difficult for African men to get help because of how fast the foundations of mental health were laid. We had fathers who were never vulnerable, who were not courageous enough to share what they were going through. They would meet as men and discuss, but there are things that we need even women to help us. You know, the power of a woman is emotions. The weakness of a woman is emotions. A woman can see you and say, Victor, yuko fiti, and they know what to do. Yeah? Before even you reach for a counseling or psychologist to help you, first it starts from home. So you can get that help from home so that you do not take your own life. And through that, we'll have longevity, long life. They'll live to see their children's children, you know, and they'll have a good mental health, and have a society whereby every generation that comes up is a generation of pure, healthy mental health. The pains we go through are shortcuts for someone else not to go through the pain. We face the challenges so that when we meet someone that is going through, we cut it short for them and we help them. And for me, being sexually molested, being raped, has opened the path and purpose for me to reach out to more men. For me, being a street boy has helped me to reach out to street family and feed them and school some. And for me, my relationship with late helped me to show that people that are in marriage, you can be able to build your marriage and correct each other in love and become a good wife and a good husband and become a good father also, because there's a generation you bring. And also for the friends I've met in my life, our friendship has been stronger each and every day, so that we can show others that in that friendship we can still maintain the friendship and bring the best out of each other. It's a circle. It's, how do we call it in science? I forgot. Chain, food chain, eh? Yeah. So at the end of the day, we do not lose the meaning of life in its every stages. And basically for what I went through, three things came. Campaign GBV for men, mental health in terms of depression. I ended up pursuing counseling. So when I meet someone who has suicidal thoughts or was able to try suicide, I can relate with them and tell them I was there. I cannot not only tell them that I feel your pain, but I can also tell them I was there. I feel how what you're going through. I know how your mind is lingering. I know the thoughts that are going through your mind. And you know, I help them to overcome that challenge, and they can find purpose and value in their life. I've been doing street feeding, consistent and inconsistent. I raise funds through the shops that I have, selling shoes, both online and physical shops. 20% of my income goes to street feeding. And then every day from Monday to Friday, I thank so much Metro. They're my number one financiers. They've graciously helped me talk to people about mental health. When I get to maternity, I should just read myself. My name is Victor, I'm a counselor, and I deal in terms of mental health in men. I just want to provide a safe space for men where men can be able to open up and share what they go through. First, offering a shoulder for the men and a listening ear to them, and by guiding them in the 6 points in layman's language I put across: guide men to God, that respect someone's choice of faith, learn to love yourself as a man, 3, be faithful man to your wife so that marriage can work and have a safe space, 4, be there for your kids. I'd want us as parents that we be the first friends of our children, that they can run and share with us some of the things that they're going through, you know, because most of our kids open up to our house help, because they open up to people who they spend much time with, and that is our house help or their friends in school. The teachers, they don't match. Yeah. So God forbid if these two people are people who are not godly. So we need to be the first friend of our children, so that the society out there, they might impact our children negatively for their selfish interests. So I want men to know that it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay for them to keep quiet and die silently. And then that's where these things come in. So I usually come with these socks, either happy socks or a plain socks or an ankle socks. Every socks is 100 shillings. That's a plate of food. And for those who wish to, I'll give my numbers. You can also support by donating clothes. You can drop them outside NTV at the shoe shiners, or leave at the security guards. I'll find them. Or else you can take my number, I can come and pick them. Number 2, you can volunteer your time, come and help me serve the food for the kids. And you can bring pampers or pads. If you want to support financially for a plate of food, it's 100 shillings through 247, and then you go 0704 038 470. I have not yet got pay bill. Or else you can send directly to the number 0704 038 470. It will write Victor Hamisi. And also for the school fees, I don't take money. You pay direct to the school account, so I post on my social media. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Also, we need to check on our pastors or your sheikh. They're human beings like you and I. We run to them when we have issues, but they have no one to run to. We expect them to run to God. So I also need us to check on our spiritual leaders. You know, when they are sober, when they are calm, when they have right mental health, then also God is able to use them to pass the message to us. But when they come to us when they have issues, you know, they'll take advantage of us. How many pastors have taken advantage of us because now they think the money is the only solution? So they'll, you know. So yeah, we need also to check on it. So each one, reach one. There's a young man who I took when I was in high school. He's already finished his university. He's working somewhere. There's a young man that recently finished his high school. He's about to join university. There's a young girl who is still in high school. There's another one is pre-primary school. And things are happening. Dynamics are changing. We are able to help where we can. You know, apart from only that, there are street families who have already got out of street, have the businesses they're doing. And also appeal to the government. We vote. But the street families don't feel like, I have a proposal. If someone can reach out, help me give them birth certificate and ID so that they can also feel part of us. The voting process really matters, yeah. And to the private society, those who have companies, please reach out. Let's give these young men and women opportunity to work so that they change their lives. Some already have businesses they are doing, others are employed, in private, government, county government, national government, working through talking to people. And also, there are marriages that are healing, the relationships that are healing, the people knowing that when we have quarrels in utamua mapenzi ni sengine korofishana, lakini sikorofishana to a point whereby mnaachana, they know how to solve things, and last but not least, which is the most important, two things: men building the relationship with God, and men finding their purpose and mental health, campaigning against it. And now men have now a safe space that they can reach out and talk. I meet my clients in Karura, Arboretum, we talk, we have sessions. I also do school talks, church, corporate. But when I do schools, corporate, and corporate society, the money goes to the feeding program. But when I have one-on-one, yeah. So we're impacting society through our pains. Your pain is not when you overcome your pain, the gain is not yours. The gain is for others. So yeah. So that's Victor for you. We live for legacies. When we leave Earth, we leave legacy. We depart, we leave. I want to be remembered as a one man who guided men to God. It's just basically four things. A man who championed men, irrespective of the choice of faith, men to build a relationship with God, because my purpose is in men. Two, a man who remembered that help men to be responsible in all areas of their lives in terms of relationship-wise, being good men. A man who championed for mental health in men. A man who first broke the ceiling, and men were courageous enough to share their pains and what they go through. And still they were not stigmatized, but they were given a shoulder and listened and valued and helped. And men who made mistakes, and we didn't push them aside or throw them, but gave them a chance in life. Everyone deserves a chance. We sin to God, but does God push us away? No, He gives us other chances. So we need to give a man who will remember that championed men to be given a chance and to become positive and good men. And a man who, whenever he walked, men will have genuine smile, not fake smile. Yeah. So all said and done, the purpose of men will be established through mental health.